Okay, we are going to talk about using something called U substitution to help make solving a little bit more complicated of a problem a little bit easier. If you take a look at the problem that we have right here, you notice that you don't have a quadratic. You have something to the fourth, something to the second, and then if we have this six. Actually, let's not have it equal to 6 because a lot of things that we know in math we can't do unless our equation is equal to 0. So if you actually take a look at this, you will see that it kind of, in a way, models a quadratic, except for it's not a quadratic, it's to the fourth degree. But if you think about this that I'm boxing right here, x plus 3 quantity squared, and if you think about making that, just representing it in a more simple manner and just representing it as a u. What that does then is x plus 3 to the fourth is really our u, x plus 3 to the second, squared. If I already boxed this and said that we're going to make that be u, if I take a look at the equation that I now have, this goes back to an algebra concept of here's a quadratic. Now we're in a variable u instead of x or y, what we're used to, but we have a quadratic that's u. You can factor this. If it's factorable, you can use the quadratic formula. Any way to solve this that you know back from algebra. I'm going to factor this because this is a factorable problem. Positive 6 and oops, I'm not in a u. You got to be careful with that. I'm not in x, I'm in u. So u, let's make that a little nicer. U plus 6 and u minus 1. So basically, zero product property says that I can either set u plus 6 equal to 0 and get negative 6, or I can set u minus 1 equal to 0 and get 1. However, that's not our answer. Remember, we made this relationship between x and u. So u can either be negative 6 or negative 1. Those answers will work in this equation, but we want to actually solve for x. So what you would do then, another step, is set what you made u be equal to, x plus 3 squared, equal to both negative 6 and 1. And now we have to go and solve the two of these. So when I go and square both sides, let's start with the first one. If I have x plus 3, we're going to take the square root of both sides. In this case, we can't take the square root of negative 6, so that is not going to yield us any answers. So in that part, we have no solutions. But when I take the square root of 1, I'm going to get plus and minus 1. So when I go to solve this equation for x, I'm going to have negative 3 plus or minus 1, which basically means I get negative 3 plus 1, which is negative 2, and negative 3 minus 1, which would be negative 4. So the actual answers in this problem would be negative 2 and negative 4.